All right, we're back here learning about personal year numbers 3, 4, and 5. I'm so excited to be learning this information. This is the graph, as you can see. So when you get into number 3, you're going in a downward, you're going downward, and then in year 4, we see it's at the lower end of the cycle. And then year number 5, you're on an upswing. The reason this is important to talk about is because sometimes you might be having a year, as it said in the book, you might be having a year where you're not really making gains financially and what have you. And so when you look at it in this way, understanding that actually this is a time of compression, right? You're compressing all that data that you learned during the last cycle. You're coming down from all that height and climax, and now you're compressing all that data, you're processing all that information, you're on your way to do bigger and better things. But this is a year where you might not see any financial gains. You really kind of just want to go with the flow. Don't change anything. Keep doing what you're doing. You're compressing all that information, processing it, and like we said, you're on your way up to another climax of a cycle, which typically is in years 9, personal life year numbers or personal year numbers 9 and 1. But hey, we're going to get back into that in just a minute. Thank you guys so much for being here. Let's jump back into the book. All right, welcome back, family. Welcome back to the Openly Occultic Book Club. We are reading the Complete Book of Numerology, Discovering the Inner Self by David A. Phillips. We're in chapter 9 where we're going over what is called the 9-year life cycle, or 9 year, excuse me, it's actually called the 9-year cycle of change, right? And so every year is a number, and the numbers go from 1 through 9, and then after 9, it starts back at number 1. That's what we've been learning here while reading this book. So, very thankful to have you guys here with me. You know what to do because we're going to jump right back into this book, right? So, we left off on personal year number 2, and now we're going to go over personal year number 3. And let's pull up that grid just so we can remember and remind ourselves, right? This is what the personal year graph is looking like. The proportion of power, it's a cycle. Each cycle, it gets higher and higher, including the lower end of the cycle. It's getting higher and higher too. So you're never going to continue down in that same energy. It's going to continuously go higher. Um, and the cycle will continue, right? The question I was asking was, well, how will we know the proportion of power, right? So it was saying, because I was rereading it, and it was talking about how everybody's graph is not the same and what have you. So I guess I didn't get to quite the answer just yet on how they gauge the proportion of power, but I guess they're just starting with the fact that 9 and 1 are the high ends and 4 and 7 are the low ends, and 6 is like a mid-high cycle, right? Personal year 6 is a height, but it's not the highest of heights. It's not low like 4 and 7. These are the bottom of each cycle, as we can see, right? Looking at the graph, we can see that. So, yeah, we're going to jump back into this book. I appreciate you guys tuning in, telling other people about this book and about this book club as well, so that more people can complete the assignment. The assignment being to raise your vibration, right? That's what we believe here at the Openly Occultic Book Club. So let's see. Personal year number 3, a mind expansive year, right? It's a mind expansive year. Personal year number 3. Currently, I'm in personal year number 8. So I'm looking forward to reading about that. If you're a personal year number 3, let me know because we're more than halfway through the year now. So, has it so far or thus far been a mind expansive year? Let me know in the comments. It says between the peak personal year numbers and the trough of the personal year 4, right? Because we know the peak is at 9 and 1, and then the lower end is 4 and 7. So here we are at 3. It's on a downward swing, as we saw on the grid. When it came to personal year number 3, it's going down to the lowest of the low, year number 4, personal year number 4, right? And we're not thinking of these things in terms of bad years. That's not how we're thinking. We got to change our perspective, okay? It's just more of a year of not growth, but compressing everything you've learned, stabilizing yourself from this new cycle that you just came through, which you've grown through, right? So now you're compressing all that, reaching a stabilization point, getting ready now to go back up on a new height. So, between the peak personal year numbers 9 and 7 and the trough of the personal year 4 comes this year of surprisingly intensified mental power that provides the appropriate rounded development for this portion of the personal year cycle. Under this vibration, our thinking and observing faculties are attuned to an acute peak of alertness. It's a year when the intellect thirsts for knowledge and expression. For some, it could involve study of an academic nature. Others might prefer to investigate life and its philosophies, while some might seek enlightenment through personal growth. The usual means of mental expansion this year are either through an educational course or extensive travel. Whatever the choice, it's important to realize that this year, this personal year number 3, is one in which the further development of memory is vital. For the 3 vibration is the gateway to the mind through memory. Remember, we read earlier about the number 3 on the numerology grid, right? We said it's the first number on the mind plane and it's actually dealing with memory. That's the first thing. When it comes to your mentality and thinking, you need a memory. You need to be able to remember things, right? So, yes, that's part of your natural development. Nature, the universe, Mother Nature, God is looking out for you. It knows how to grow you into what it wants you to be. You know what I mean? So we're glad to know this information, and because then we can go with the flow and not fight against the current, right? Fight against what's naturally occurring within us, the changes and growth occurring within us. Okay, so we should also realize that memory is the foundation of self esteem and self confidence, as well as the bridge between our conscious and unconscious minds. The continual alertness, excuse me, the continual alertness and growing capacity of our memory is invariably distinguishable between the aging and the ageless people. Okay? The aging and the ageless people. Wow. So, the continual alertness and growing capacity of our memory is invariably distinguishable between the aging and the ageless people. On the lighter side of the personal year 3, we should recognize the need for balance by ensuring that time is allowed in our lives for humor, happy occasions, bright company, and the appreciation of a good joke, right? And I'd add good food to that too, right? Have a good time. Why so serious, right? Ruling 3 people will be especially attuned to this year's vibrations, right? Ruling, if your ruling life number is a 3, you'll be especially attuned to the personal year number 3's vibrations. But the people who have ruling number 3's, they must learn to control their high level of rationality to ensure that it doesn't swamp their feelings, right? So you got to look out for that. For them, the enhanced mental alertness that they'll experience this year needs to be channeled into avenues of constructive and expansive awareness for their personal satisfaction and for the peace of mind of those with whom they associate, who may otherwise grow tired of an overbalanced mentality and become the subject of frequent destructive criticism, right? So, to help you with balance and wholeness and not be fighting against the flow of this certain growth period, this is a cycle, a necessary part of the growth is to expand your awareness. So you're gonna have to learn regardless, right? I hope you're here listening. Um, what about the personal year 3 in January? So, well, they have the need for self-expression, and it's stimulated in the month of January. The need for self-expression is stimulated in the month of January if you're in a personal year number 3. As the mind seeks to have its newly stimulated thoughts translated into active life. Many new plans are likely to be conceived and discussed this month, and every effort should be made to act upon those that seem appropriate. Remember, this is a month for individual action, right? You're translating this self expression into active life. So go ahead and do it. If you get the idea and you can do it and it's appropriate, go ahead and jump into action, right? Green light. February in a personal year number 3 is a powerful month for the intuitive faculties to guide the mental and provide that profound combination that easily accomplishes any challenge, right? So it helps suit your intuition. Intuition should be all the more attuned after last year's spiritual progress, right? Okay. March 3rd, March in the personal year number 3, acuity of memory is at its peak with the double three, because March is the third month, right? So with this double three energy, acuity of memory is at its peak. Concepts will either take on new meaning or will be discarded because they're no longer relevant. This is a perfect month to commence a new course of study or undertake a new job training program, right? So this is a year of learning, and you should probably try to train it to an academic type thing to learning, in that way. Though you learn in many different ways. So, hey, I'm not here to tell you which way to learn this year. If this is your personal year 3, I want to know in the comments what way you've been learning this year. Has it been academic? Have you been learning life lessons, right? Philosophical truths, musing over philosophical things. How have you been learning? Growing your memory and learning in this year? Let me know in the comments. April of a personal year number 3, well, the stabilizing vibrations of this month provide an appropriate time for reflection and consolidation of the mind's growth thus far. It's also a month of action where and when appropriate. May in a personal year 3, exciting mental expansiveness brings with it a euphoria that sets the heart singing. It's especially a time for heightened thoughtfulness towards our loved ones, for they are sometimes omitted from our year of busy mental growth, right? So turn your thoughtfulness as well towards your loved ones. Don't forget them, right? They're with you on this journey as well. Um, or if you need to cut off certain people, it's good to strengthen your memory so that you can kind of become more conscious of why this person or that one needs to be kind of exercised from your life. So you'll need a memory. You'll need to learn, maybe, learn about your triggers and come to the realization they're triggering you. They're kind of, in the way of your growth in so many ways. So now you need to evaluate that. So yeah, your mind is still towards your loved ones, but you're actually also kind of figuring out, is this loved one worth my time and energy? Are they in the way of my growth? Have I outgrown them, if you will? So, all kind of different ways. Just, think of all the possibilities, all these different perspectives, you know. June in a personal year number 3, even newer concepts develop under this creative, even newer, right? Even newer concepts develop under this creative sixth vibration, right? The sixth vibration is about creativity. Hmm. Mm-hmm. The new season brings with it an added dimension of enlightenment and some further growth in memory expansiveness. But this can be all negated if anxiety intervenes, as it sometimes does when positive creativity is swamped by worry, right? July in a personal year number 3. Behind every mental experience is a philosophic understanding that's often overlooked in our headlong rush towards progress, right? Take a moment to meditate and think in a way, philosophical way about things, right? Luther Vandross said a chair is not a chair, a home is not a home. And these are philosophical ways of understanding the power of love, togetherness, and family, and nurturing. So, think about it in a philosophic way and because it goes on to say, but to the true thinker, philosophic understanding is the foundation upon which further mental growth is enhanced. The vibrations of this month are most conducive to the development of this foundation, right? So take a little time out to meditate and think in a philosophical way, right? Go ahead and get into your guru cosplay, right? And go sit in the woods or on a rock in the mountains or by a creek, all places that I have done my meditations as well. Definitely being in nature helps, right? It kind of quiets the mind. There's nothing to hear but leaves, insects, you know, things of that nature, animals. So the sound of water rushing, it's just so natural and free. It's not fighting, it's just going, and just let your mind go. Let your mind just float off, you know. Because it's always good to get a philosophic understanding on things, all kinds of different ways to ponder stuff, right? August in personal year number 3, the key to independence is lateral thinking, the mental exercise by which the exceptional departs from the conventional. If it's in you but has yet to emerge, this month offers the right vibrations. Okay, lateral thinking. Okay, so Google it because it says here the key to independence is lateral thinking. And if you know, you know. And if you don't know, then hey, that month, this August and personal year number 3, is a month that gives you the right vibrations to learn. Okay? And it's August now. It's August 1st. So today is the day, guys. Today is the beginning of a beautiful thing. All right, September in a personal year 3. Remember, that's a 9. So now here you have a 9 and a 3. Another powerful mind month in which we come to terms with the added responsibility that comes with our expanded knowledge. But be especially mindful to find the joy amid life's seriousness. Don't forget to laugh. Go play with the kids. It's always fun to just relax and don't be an adult. Relax and take on that childlike, carefree mind where you're in a naive state. Anything can happen. Everything is wondrous and wonderful and is a mystery. And just enjoy, that vibe for a few hours. October in a personal year 3. From October the 1st, the influence of next year's personal year 4 gradually begins, while this year's power will be felt to slowly diminish. Mental growth unexpressed in action is little better than bland theory. So take this last powerful opportunity to apply the substance of your new concepts to your practical life to ensure that they work for you. Okay? This is interesting. Good stuff. Let me see something. Um, mm-hmm. Philosophic understanding in July. What does it say for June? Creativity, right? Another dimension of enlightenment, further growth in memory. Lateral thinking. And then September, you're coming to terms with the added responsibility that comes with all that knowledge, right? To whom much is given, much is required, is what they say sometimes. Heavy is the head that wears the crown, right? You're becoming sovereign in all this knowledge. So you're going to get a little bit down, might be a little bit sad because you don't want to take on the added necessary responsibilities that come with your new knowledge, you know, because if you know better, you got to do better. Knowing is half the battle. Doing is the next step, and it's a responsibility, and I understand it. We understand it around here. So leave a purple heart in the comment section for people dealing with that. Let them know we're behind you. We're rooting for you. You got this. You know, you got this. So yeah. Well, that was September, but October, yeah. So in October now, you could take that last opportunity to apply the substance of your new concepts to your practical life to ensure that they work out for you, right? Because now you've gone ahead and accepted the responsibility that's going to come with your new knowledge. So now in October, you can go ahead and see how you can make it work in your life in a practical way. Baby steps. You can do it in baby steps. Nobody said you had to take giant steps. Nobody said you had to take small steps. Nobody said you had to take straight line steps. You can move like a crab, sideways and diagonal or whatever the case may be. Just make sure that you're moving. That's the point, is what we're learning here, right? And the first law of the universe is everything in motion is alive. So if you're not in motion, are you living? Are you alive? See, there's your philosophical thought to ponder upon. And you could think about, well, what is stagnant water? You know, water that's not moving, it's not in motion. What about a stuffy room when you go in a room that's been closed up? You know, air that's not been moving around, it's just been stagnant. And then you think about yourself, and different ways you can become active in your life, becoming more active in your own life. All right, November in a personal year 3, this is a month of accentuated feelings when all of our faculties, mental, spiritual, and physical, combine for success. Ensure adequate relaxation and meditation periods, okay? Because it's happening. December in personal year 3, in the final analysis, if a concept works to improve our lives and brings about added joy, it's worth keeping. Otherwise, useless theories tend to clog our valuable brain cells. Okay, so I have to work on these things. Um, I'm in a personal year number 7 right now, but I have to work, or in a personal year 8 right now, but I have to work on, pivoting, not being stagnant for too long. Sometimes I feel like I'm moving fast as a shooting star. And then sometimes I feel like, I'm stagnant. But like I said, you can hit that personal year 4 or personal year number 7, and it's going to seem stagnant. But you're actually just compressing all the things that you've learned, and you're going to figure out a new way, a better way, because you're going to go on a new cycle that's going to go higher. So it's going to happen inevitably. Don't beat yourself up. Take it easy on yourself, guys. If you need herbs for stress and anxiety, you know what you can do. You can swing by cedargroveherbs.com, get you some herbs for your nerves. And we got free shipping on both herbs for nerves. Known nervine herbs for stress, vagal tone, and what have you. That would be ashwagandha, lavender, St. John's wort, skullcap, blue vervain, all these type of herbs, passion flower. I don't know if we're in stock. I think I'm out of stock on passion flower, but these are herbs that help you with your nerves, and there's been many studies to show this to be true. Lemon balm, right? I'm taking lemon balm daily now with my dandelion root, right? So swing by cedargroveherbs.com. You can get free shipping if you get bulk herbs for these nervine herbs for your anxiety and stress. So now, what about a personal year 4? That is a year of consolidation. As we can see again from the grid, it's at the lower end, and that's not a bad thing. It's a consolidation and stabilization energy. So it's just stabilizing all that stuff that you've learned in the past cycle so that you can put it to use in your life, in your world, in your reality. Right? So it's a year of consolidation. Physical and material factors dominate through this TRO year. Physical and material factors. Rest and stability are vital to the regenerate and consolidate the previous 5 years' development. So to regenerate, you need rest and stability, and you have to consolidate all that development so that you can make room for new stuff, right? It's a year of squaring, as symbolized geometrically by the four-sided figure, right, of the number four. When everything is brought to a reckoning and the unwanted aspects are eliminated, as a vine is pruned in winter to make way for the coming new growth the following spring, you know what we're talking about here, right? You got to make way for the new. This is an ideal time or ideal year for integrating basic self. This is the ideal year for integrating basic self, body and emotions, and conscious thought or conscious self, your thoughts and ideas, as well as the higher self, the internal soul. Those who don't follow the need for time to relax. So if you don't take out this time to relax and adjust, you can find yourself in a state of disharmony, leading to frustration, confusion, and fear. Okay? So this is not a fear tactic. This is to let you know that you will be running into fear if you don't take the time to compress and reach the stabilization. You have to do that with a lot of rest and meditation, take out the time to relax, you know. Um, Any attempt at major changes in affairs or lifestyles during this year are rarely successful, leading instead to material loss in either finances, health, or both. So, isn't this great information to know? Now we know. And once we know better, we can do better. People who are usually regarded as being highly strung, whose nerves are ever tense, and whose sensitivities are acute, should be especially careful to avoid any disharmony in their dealings with others this year. For them, a relaxing or relaxed vacation will be most beneficial, right? So they get a little tense. Again, we suggest nerve herbs definitely. That's definitely a step in the right direction to deal with your nervous system. Ruling people 4 cannot be blamed for feeling quite frustrated under this year's vibration. So if you have a ruling number 4 during a personal year number 4, you're going to be dealing with all this. And you can't be blamed for feeling quite frustrated under this year's vibrations. Invariably, they'll fail to recognize it as a year of consolidation, trying instead to maintain the impetus of the progress achieved during the previous 4 years. As a result, their nerves take a severe battering. For them, increased rest and reduced emotional disturbances, such as avoiding TV, movie thrillers, and domestic or work arguments, will help reduce the toll on their health. The inclusion in their diet of adequate B complex vitamins will be of enormous help in restoring nerve energy, as well as appropriate homeopathic nerve tonics. But addictive drugs should be avoided, for they only incite secondary problems. Ruling 22 for people should accept the same advice, but with the additional suggestion that they recognize the more spiritual essence and organize their daily routines to permit periods of meditation and relaxation, right? Additional spiritual nourishment for them includes time to read appropriate spiritual books, listen to harmonious music, or more ideally, become involved in creating music or writing books aided by their powerful intuition. So, what about January, the month of January for personal year number 4? Dare to be different. Be courageous as you confront your choices and eliminate unneeded matter and acquaintances from your affairs. Be confident and firm in your convictions. Your sensitivities are vulnerable in this month, so focus them on your loved ones and consolidate these relationships. That word consolidate. February in personal year number 4. Don't let people intimidate you into doing what you prefer to avoid. Be confident and firm in your convictions. your sensitivities are vulnerable this month. So focus them on your loved ones and consolidate these relationships. Once again, what about March, interpersonal year 4? Understand your needs as opposed to your wants. First things first, right? Know this. Understand your needs as opposed to your wants. Seek not those things outside you, for you have it all within. And avoid wasting time on distant fancies, recognizing that we rarely use a fraction of our potential because we take insufficient time to understand it. The vibrations of this month are particularly conducive for reversing that habit. Okay? Great advice. I think that's good advice and for a good reason. And they laid it out plain and clear. So that's what's up. April, in a personal year 4, if you don't accept the need to consolidate, first things first, because the universe is doing something here. So you can go with the flow. But here's some advice on what happens if you don't accept the flow. Because growth is going to occur. You're not meant to be the same way at all times forever. Growth has to occur. Your seed, just like the apple seed that we talked about in the last episode or a few episodes ago, just like every other seed, you're a human seed, right? And you're going to grow and change. So if you don't accept the need to consolidate, this April in a personal year number 4 can be a particularly trying month in which your nerves are tried almost to their limit. Many people experience unusual sickness under this vibration, but they'll doubtless be nerve oriented. Rest and remedial nourishment will provide the cure. And I'm telling you, herbs for your nervous system will nourish your nervous system. So that's your best bet for sure. So at least get the ball rolling, right? May in personal year number 4, discover the freedom of detaching from old limiting habits, both at home and at work. Take time to relax on a restful vacation to avoid nerve damage, right? Free yourself of unwanted baggage, such as clothes that you'll no longer wear, books that you'll not read again, and useless furniture that others can use them. Well, others can use them, right? You can give them to other people. They can use them, get something out of it because it's worn out its time in your life. June in a personal year 4. Your creative side, because June is the month 6, and it's again, so you're dealing with creativity. Your creative side can now be used to advantage to develop new and more efficient techniques for doing those things that you've been avoiding or have been doing routinely and without thinking for so long. Take care not to allow worry or anxiety to cloud your actions. Realizing that you can only live in the present, concentrate on what you're doing instead of thinking about something else to be done later. hmm I know that energy all too well. I got a lot of Gemini. Well, I have a Gemini sun. My sun is in Gemini and my Venus is in Gemini. And then I got a lot of Virgo. So I understand what they're saying and why they're saying what they're saying. And it's good advice. I agree. Yes, I was born in June. I understand that energy well. So this is good advice for me as well. Can you see how that this could be still good advice for you, even if it's not a personal year number 4 for you? Like you're at least learning the energy of June, and June is the 6th month, so you're learning the energy of the number 6. So that's what's up. I'm doing better too. I'm getting more acquainted with it, so I can kind of pinpoint it faster. You know, first we got to have the language to describe these things, right? So I'm getting better at that, and astrologically speaking, right? So even in astrology, I'm getting better at being able to pinpoint or name the energy that I'm witnessing or observing, if you will. All right, July in a personal year 4. This can be another difficult month for those who are not prepared to consolidate and conserve their energies, right? It could be another hard one. For them, it'll be remembered as a month of loss. But realize that these are necessary, necessary sacrifices to show us when we're being too stubborn. For those with a deeper understanding, this can be a month of philosophic enlightenment as we undertake further mental and physical house cleaning. Very necessary. We got to do it. We got to do it. August in a personal year 4. If our year to date has been one of successful consolidation, this month will bring rewards of a new dimension in personal independence and wisdom. Otherwise, we'll feel aloof and perhaps turned off from our loved ones. So these are your reference points. Then you'll know where you stand in this personal year 4, judging or based off of that. And here we are, August 1st, right now. So you'll know by the end of this month if you're in a personal year 4. You'll know right now on whether or not you've been consolidating successfully or not. Right? September in a personal year 4. Take care not to be tempted to become overly ambitious under this vibration, for it is more one of responsibility, preparing the way for the coming mini peak in your personal year 6, right? This is an excellent month for that well learned, restful vacation. So, a lot of resting during the personal year 4. That's great. Let me look back in my personal year number 4. That was 2022. Did I rest? Oh, see, I don't think I was consolidating well, y'all. In 2022, I was working hard. Well, I was sat down actually in 2022. And then I did chill out for a little bit, took a moment, a month or two for love. But I wasn't really, I feel like I was working hard still a lot that year, trying to do like just what they said don't be doing, trying to hold on to past successes that I had been succeeding over the previous 4 or 5 years before that. So here I was still trying to fight to capitalize on that, or working hard to realize those ideal goals. And now I'm hearing and seeing this was supposed to be a year of rest and compression, right? Stabilization. So this is good to know. I can look back on my personal year numbers and see where I went wrong and how I'll do better from here on out. Let's see. October in a personal year 4, a month of compounded physical vibrations. A month of compounded physical vibrations. This is an excellent period to start a suitable program to get the body into its optimum shape and fitness. Seek to finish your house cleaning at home and at the office, giving away all unneeded and unused items. Make way for the new in all aspects of your life. This is beautiful. Yeah, I don't know if I gave anything, if I did all that in 2022. Man, there's a lot you can look back on now knowing this information and see what you did and how you handled that energy. Just to test, because we gotta experiment with this stuff. Just like with human design, right? We're living the human design experiment. I'm living a human design life and doing the experimenting on that information given, which we spent all of season 1 reading, right? We read all season 1 of the Openly Occultic Book Club. We read the definitive book of human design by Linda Bundell, and it was authorized. It's the only book authorized by the founder of the human design system, Ra Uru Hu. So I'm living that experiment, living that life, and experimenting on the things learned. And same here. I'm experimenting with this information. I'm looking back in my memory over my personal year numbers and thinking and remembering what I was doing in those times, in those years, and kind of putting it in perspective. I wonder if I'm supposed to be doing that right now during my personal year number 8. You know what I mean? This is August in my personal year number 8. So I wonder. But we'll read about personal year 8 in the next episode. Let's finish up personal year 4 and 5. November in personal year 4. From November 1st, the influence of next year's personal year 5 starts to be felt, right? While this year's power starts to diminish, right? You should feel a new freedom at this time. You should feel a new freedom, a lightness and happiness. Your sensitivity more acute as you begin to reap the benefits of the declining, stabilizing year. If you succumb to the nerve problems during the year, you could still be feeling ill at ease until you accept the remedies as previously offered. right? Absolutely. So just keep that in mind for when Thanksgiving comes up. Towards the end of November, you could look back on Thanksgiving, see if you can be thankful that you did go ahead and deal with the compression, the stabilization of your year, personal year 4, or if you didn't. You're going to be thankful either way because you're just thankful to know this information anyway. So you're thankful either way for Thanksgiving 2026 if you celebrate it at all. You know, we could still find it. We don't have to be thankful on a certain day. We're thankful every day, and we for sure gonna eat every day, right? So we could eat and be thankful tonight and say, "Hey, I'm so glad to just know this information." And that's how that go. December in a personal year 4. You should now understand so much more about yourself and life. But don't get too enthusiastic in your planning for next year until this vibration is fully exhausted. For it's still consolidating personal year 4, and this month is your last chance to really get to know its benefits as a foundation for the coming years of growth, right? Because once again, now at the end of this personal year number 4, you're going into a personal year number 5, which is on the upswing, and you're going to reach a peak in personal year 6. It's not the highest peak that you'll reach, but it will be a peak. So you'll be glad that you're going on this ride. You know what I mean? Okay. So, what about personal year 5? Well, it's a year of freedom. Spiritual and emotional factors prevail this year. Its vibrations span the gap between last year's tro and next year's creative mini peak, igniting the power of freedom generated by heightened psychic awareness and personal expression. This leads to the development of our talents to find release from material and social confinement, replacing them with a new focus on artistic expression, whether for a hobby or professionally. Interesting. When was I in a personal year 5? 2023. Okay. It's just cool to know that these are the different vibrations you're dealing with month to month and then year to year. It's really, really interesting to me, right? Because as he pointed out in his book, in the beginning of the chapter that we're reading right now, chapter 9, at the beginning of the chapter, he was describing, showing you that life is full of cycles. We need to get hip to the numerology cycle. There's cycles with these numbers too, for sure, and learn the vibrations of them. All right. So, at this point, this will lead to the development of our talents and find release from material and social confinement, replacing them again with a new focus on artistic expression, whether for a hobby or professionally. Some have launched the basis for a new career under this vibration. Others have discovered their freedom in a change of home, moving to the country and away from city confinement. So, all kind of different ways, right? All kind of different ways to find this freedom, this year of freedom. Mm. My personal year 5 was in 2023. I'll need to go back in my journal, my diary, see what it says. Okay, ruling number 5, people will find this a year in which their desires for freedom become almost obsessive. I think this ruling number 5, people, right? Because it's a typo for sure. However, they must realize that it's not always physical freedom that they need, though it is sometimes easier to believe so, thereby rationalizing and masking an emptiness in personal understanding, right? And that's no good. We got to get to the truth. So, yeah. Their primary need is for freedom of expression, a quality that's comparatively new to human life, but thankfully becoming more and more universal, right? We definitely have freedom of speech here in America, but freedom of expression is what we're talking about. This expression can best be achieved through the arts, for it is soon realized that to express ourselves freely demands far more than just words. Music, painting, pottery, or any similar form of artistic expression provide the vent for our sensitivity and much needed nourishment for the nerves. helping us to develop that all important personal calmness. Wow, for sure. All right, so January in a personal year 5. A new and revitalized personal assertiveness will often surprise family and friends, yet seem natural and normal to you under this vibration. Feel the freedom of its expression in your daily life. What about February in a personal year 5? Heightened intuitive and spiritual awareness can open new depths of understanding and expression this month, bringing with it the desire for increased peace and harmony. This is an excellent month to begin study in personal growth or any of the metaphysical sciences, right? Any of the metaphysical sciences. This is what we're into here. This is the Openly Occultic Book Club. March in a personal year 5. With the increase in personal confidence engendered by an enriched freedom of expression, you find it easier to put your plans into action and gain improved satisfaction from a new sense of achievement, thereby resisting any tendency towards old lazy habits, right? You're breaking cycles here because you got some new stuff you're into. That's great. April in personal year 5, ensure that whatever your plan is has a solid foundation and have the confidence to throw off unwanted restraints, especially with regard to work and study. Spend as much time as possible in the quiet of the country. There's no better nourishment for your nerves. Okay? So go outside, like we said, sit by the creek, go for a hike in the woods, go sit on a mountain, all these things. May in a personal year 5. To relocate home and or work away from the hustle and bustle of the city will be a compelling force from now till the end of the year as you seek to expand your need for freedom. Love will feature strongly under this month's vibrations and for the next few months. Allow yourself to both express and receive it. June in a personal year 5. This is an excellent month in which to develop a creative hobby. Once again, we get to June, the 6th month, and it says creativity. For many, it becomes a powerful month for buying and selling a home, especially if you plan to move somewhere with more space. Buying an older home to revitalize or restore provides a most lucrative hobby. Man, what's going on? My Mercury. I'm moving too fast. Buying an older home to revitalize or restore provides a most lucrative hobby. Boom, we did it. I can read. Turns out I can read, guys. All right, July and personal year 5. Do it now. What you've been planning or talking about, but have not yet put into action, now stands before you as a challenge. This is an excellent month for learning through action. hmm August in a personal year 5. Settle the inner conflicts that might exist early in this month by acting on your intuition rather than reacting to support your prejudices. Okay? Allow your wisdom to flourish through the courage of your actions, correcting anything in you or anything in your life that doesn't seem worthy to you. Okay? Necessary. Um, because as we know, September is a powerful month. It's a number 9, so 9 is always very powerful, is what he's been saying in this book. So here we are now, past August, into September of personal year 5. And it says from September the 1st, the influence of next year's personal year 6 starts to be felt. Remember, that's one of those climaxes. It's not the highest of the high, but it is a climax. While this year's power slowly starts to wane. An enhanced level of understanding provides new confidence, inspiring you to take more responsibility for positive action. No longer will you allow others to determine what's best for you. You're aware of the ultimate ideals, needing only to enact them. hmm Needing only to enact them. October in a personal year 5. A month of action encourages you to pursue those ideals considered last month or to intensify those that you commenced in July. Don't pass up another golden opportunity to see your new freedom of expression reach physical maturity. All right, don't pass up this opportunity. November in personal year 5, many of the new avenues of thought and metaphysical contemplation that you've been considering this past year are now ready to test. If you've not already done so, apply them to your life and feel your freedom expand and your intuition become all the keener. Mm, good to know. You definitely need to have this book on deck so that you can remember all these things and check it again, check it maybe for at least a year or two. Write in your journal, check every month with your personal year and write in your journal to see how it's going to experiment with this stuff, right? Because we do want a higher quality of life. And if this information does that for us, then that's something we want to hold on to. That's a tool in our toolkit box, right? We want to keep that on deck. So make sure to go to cedargroveherbs.com. You can buy journals there. Use code Pure Love for 15% off on journals. And you can also go to the CGH chat room into the Openly Occultic Book Club chat room, right? And there, ask me for a free PDF of this book, and I'll send it to you for free. I'll email it right to you. Just go in there and ask me for it. You're going to want a copy of this because you're going to want to experiment with these energies throughout the year, month by month, for at least a year or two, don't you think? But ideally for a whole 9 year cycle, and really two, right? We want to compare the 9 year cycle to the other 9 year cycles. So that's 2 years of 9 year cycles. You want to definitely, I mean, you really want to be into this because that's valuable information. If you're into it and you're going to experiment with it, that would be great information and data to collect, right? You want to collect that data. This is wonderful stuff to pass down to the children, right? If you've done it, you got that wisdom to pass down to children on a wide scale. You could say, I know that this is true. I tested it myself. So you're going to want to get the book so that you can test it, a journal to keep your diary in, all these things you can get at Cedar Grove Herbs. Let's see. And now, when it comes to December in a personal year 5, now the understanding of what this year has all been about becomes so much more clear, right? You realize that love doesn't mean dependency, that freedom doesn't mean abandonment or laziness, and that self confidence doesn't mean boastfulness. At last, you've learned that the meaning of temperance is balance in all things suitable and avoidance of that which is undesirable. Yes, this is great. This is great news. We're getting useful things that we can use in our life. We're very happy to know these things. I'm happy that you've joined me today here in the Openly Occultic Book Club. Um, I'm going to upload this video. I'm actually about to go ahead and make another video. I can't wait to hear about the personal year number 8. That's my personal year. I need to know about it, right? So uh, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Click the notification bell so that you don't miss the next episode. I'm going to get started on reading that right away. So I hope you had a good time. Until next time, wholeness and balance.